Hey, and welcome to map 19 of TNT Evilution. This is shipping respawning, and this opening is an absolute arse. I'm just going to say that out loud because it is. Putting a bony boy and just a single barrel shotgun in the first room for a pistol start, tut. Anyway, we move on here. We actually move into like a warehouse kind of area here, so this area kind of circles the central room there. You can see there's little windows to look inside. There are quite a few enemies inside, so we do want to take our time, make sure that we don't rush in and lose a lot of health. Kind of looks like an office space in there. So as long as we're careful here, we won't lose too much health coming into this room. I think there's still someone walking around. There we are. So you can see there's a bunch of teleporters dotted around here. Once you kind of go into the teleporters, it teleports you between all of them. It's a pretty fun ride, but what you really want to do is head over here because there's a cell pack in this one. Now, I mean, that's fun the first time round, let's be honest. I do like how some of these TNT levels really go hard on the base aesthetic here. So you can see there's like computer terminals, there's computer servers. They're really going in on it, and I kind of dig it. Even if, as you see in a bit, things get a bit silly. So there's Romero's name, there's TNT logo. I do love how in TNT they put like random blood smears on the walls. It kind of creates the feeling that like something was happening here before you arrived, like something really nasty and horrible, and you're just kind of seeing the cleaned up version of this room. We'll head down the stairs here. Can't go forward there yet, but if we head into this room here, there are some spectres inside who we are going to get rid of. I like dragging them out here because it's easier to see them. It's a bit dark in here. So you can see there's an armor there and there's a switch here. That brings down the floor there. There's some chain gunners in the secret compartment there. So we just want to make sure that we get all of them. These turn on the lights around the room here. Excuse me. There we go. So you can actually see what's going on. There's nothing really too exciting happening around here. This is very much a very bog standard room, to be honest. When you go into the secret here, there's not much here. And this is not marked as a secret, which is pretty interesting. So we now head the other way, and this leads us into the main kind of thrust of this level. To the left here, there's some blue doors that we can't access right now, but we can clear the way for it later on. So you can see how this has created like a little arena here where enemies can shoot down on you from the sides and from above. So you're not entirely safe until you actually go out of your way to clear all the enemies, which I appreciate. You can also see the blue key there, but we can't grab that right now because there's a Hell Knight between us and the blue and the yellow door, which we need to get through to get to the key. What I like about this level, I guess, is that there's a cohesive design. So this level's telling like a story from the setting here, because as you'll see when we get towards the end of the level, it's very much about the shipping and the packing and processing. It feels very much like an actual place where people would work and come to. So this level gets points for that in my eyes. It sticks to its brief pretty nicely, even if at times it gets a bit silly. Let's get rid of you, as you'll see in a second. So you can look down on the previous area here. So it's kind of like a little docking bay. So say hello to the massive chairs of this level. Those chairs are redonkulously huge. I don't know if I'd be comfortable sitting in something that big for a long period. And there's another one. Yeah, so unfortunately the Doom engine does not do office wear very well. Look at the size of that mouse mat. Like, who works here? Is it giants? But yeah, the yellow key is actually hidden there in that little basket, which I do not like. I actually think it's a very weird place to put a yellow key because it's not easy to spot. You have to be right next to it to see it, and it's just kind of mean in my opinion. There's this secret area here as well, which has a megasphere in it, which will be very useful because once we go into the blue door, it's going to get a bit messy. If we hit that switch, the teleporter there opens up. It kicks us all the way back to the start of the level, which is fine. But yes, I do like this space here. This is a very interesting little arena. It's nothing super special, but it's well designed and well executed in my opinion. I was trying to go into the blue door there, and then I realised we have to actually go into the yellow door here. So of course, when a key is put in front of you like that in Doom, it is never given freely, and as you're going to see here, the walls on either side of it are going to come up straight away. So now we can head inside the blue door here, and this is where the level kind of gets grand. So up to this point it's been kind of small, compact, with just like a few hints of like bigger arenas, but as you can see here, there's 4 doors leading into this area, and there were 4 chain gunners hidden behind each of them, so we had to take those out, otherwise that would have got messy. There's a whole bunch of enemies sort of stacked around here. But you can also see, like, this is where, like, you would put all your boxes and crates. So, it feels like a warehouse, which is pretty nice. It is basically a box maze, but without the maze, it's not much of a maze, to be honest. So these pinkies will chase us through the maze until we get rid of them. So we may as well shoot them down now. You can see that one's on a pallet as well, which is pretty fun. It's the attention to detail that really kind of elevates that kind of thing. There's no need to put that detail in, but it kind of works. It kind of works, I'm not going to lie. Again, it adds to the feeling that this is a lived-in area, somewhere which is actually somewhere where you could actually go and work. But yeah, we got to get rid of these chain gunners because they will take pot shots at us as we are moving around the level here. There's quite a few enemies sort of tucked away inside the little box maze as well, so it's important that we come in here and get rid of them. Just make sure I've not left anyone behind. It is an interesting space to explore because there is a lot of little nooks and crannies where enemies can kind of hide. You can also see there's a bunch of items over on top of the boxes over there, which means that there's plenty to go hunting for if you're really into your explorations. For example, you can run over the top here and kind of make your way in that general direction if you want to grab stuff. But yes, there is actually an even more interesting part of the level coming up here. So things get a bit gimmicky here, but I don't know if you'll like this gimmick or not like this gimmick. Basically, when you shoot these barrels, these enemies will show up. So if you don't want to deal with all of this, what's going on right now, just don't blow up the barrels. That's the simple answer to that. Ideally you want to stay still while doing this because it is fairly easy for the enemies to get on top of you if you're not careful. They can't leave the little teleporter areas though, so you're not in any danger if you run away from this area, but because this is right next to the exit, it's worth just kind of clearing this area out. Like I said, there's plenty of nooks and crannies for people to hide in here, so I'm gonna go looking for health. As we saw earlier on, there are some health packs dotted around, which will be very useful, let me tell you. I think there's some on the other side. Yeah, there's one right there. we're going to have to go over the top, I think. So we got these little tiny steps here. I do want to grab that health. So you can see here, there's plenty of scope for exploration here if you're willing to kind of take the time to do so. Grab that. So there's some health there. The main reason I've done that is because the end of the level's a bit of a mean spot, and like in case we end up needing that health, I don't want to have to go hunting for it later on. So when you hit this switch here, it actually activates this pretty interesting visual bit of flair. So that's kind of like moving all the boxes along on like a conveyor belt. It adds absolutely nothing to the level, but it's actually pretty cool. It's a pretty nice little set piece that ties the level together, as does this part here. So I think this is probably the area that most people kind of remember from this level. So this is kind of like the loading bay where you would sort of unpack everything from the shipment containers and the trucks. So you can see there's quite a few enemies who've appeared here now, so we're going to have to get rid of all these. Hopefully you don't die. Blast you in the face. I want to get rid of you before you become like a real problem. But yeah, this is a very interesting space because there's an attempt here to make it look like a hill, make it look like, you know, this is an outdoor area where you can explore. And trying to make it seem like it's bigger than it actually is, because there's areas that you can see outside of the area of play which, you know, kind of add to that sense of scale here. It makes it feel like this is actually somewhere, you know, in a world that's connected. So you can see that's where the Mancubus came from. And you can see here, there's the truck. So, I mean, in the Doom engine, that's pretty cool to see a vehicle like that, you know, actually realize it. And you can actually tell what it is just by looking at it. So, you know, points for that. Points for the detail. I think that's the kind of thing that's remembered about this level. The fact that there's like a bit of extra detail in this level that didn't need to be there. And it kind of adds a bit of flurry to the visual flair. You can see there's like a road. That's where the truck would have probably come in. So again, creating areas that make the level seem a lot bigger than it actually is. If we jump over here, there isn't much out here. This is just kind of like a little area. But you can see they have textured the backsides of these hills. So, you know, they did at least pay attention to detail. So we're going to go inside the red door here. Now, the red door is filled with all of these enemies here. I'm trying to keep them all from where the Archvile is going to spawn, because just to the left here, in that box, as you can see there, there is an Archvile. I want to make sure we get rid of all the enemies before that, before we let that come out. I also don't want it running into that crowd of enemies, because it will start respawning them. Excellent. And you can kind of see there, that's the other side of this box puzzle. Well, not box puzzle, box bit of window dressing. It is like the ultimate window dressing that. It looks pretty nice, and it kind of ties the level into a bigger theme, because it ties all these areas together. And as you can see, when we come inside here, there isn't really that much in here. It's very much just here for kind of like the visual splendor, and that's fine. Nothing in there, just a hole. But yeah, in terms of visuals, like, it's very hard to be annoyed at this level. This level kind of strives for a bit of visual flair, and I think it achieves it. It does as much as it can within the constraints of the Doom engine in 1995, 1996, which is almost you can ask for. Really? 99%? What was the other 1%? Goodness me. But yeah, shipping respawning is one of those levels I I've fond memories of. It's fun in my opinion. It looks great. I don't know if I'd say it's one of the best Doom retail levels out of like all the games, but it's definitely one of the better ones in TNT in my opinion, just because it has a nice build, it has a nice payoff, and it looks pretty cool to boot. But let me know what you think of this level. Do you love it? Do you hate it? And thanks for watching.